thank you for coming. And today we don't have too many people to discuss this with, but we were talking about, should we continue doing this in the same format we're doing it now? We've been doing twice a month. It looks like we'll be doing digital type programming for quite a while yet. The situation's not changing anytime soon. And so do we want to do it twice a month or once a month, or what does everyone feel?
I'm new, so I'll defer to the people who have been doing this for a while.
Well, we've only been doing it for what, 2 months at the most?
Yeah, not that many times.
Yeah, not very that long. We have the group up in Karen up in Northern Door up, and we always went to the Sister Bay Library, okay. and we met once a month up there, and then but every Tuesday afternoon we had a help session at the library. Somebody would show, one of us, our group would be there to help anybody that came in. So that's and we had our meetings on Wednesday morning, at 10:30. So that's what we were doing, okay? And that'd been going on for quite a while, like years, 10, 12, 15 years. I don't know when.
Wonderful.
And we had quite a few more people who came to the meeting on a regular basis than we have had coming to this session. Now, a couple of them just happened to be that they work on Thursday afternoons, okay?
Carol?
Oh, here we go. Here's two more. Okay, yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And so other than that, other than Dave Weston, yeah, he's about and Gretchen sometimes. I think Gretchen forgets, to tell you the truth.
Well, Tom, you don't bake cookies like Myrna did.
I know. Yeah, that was the other thing. In our monthly meetings on Wednesday, Howard would always make these goodies for us, Yeah. And so we'd have coffee and
that makes a big difference.
Oh, you bet. I mean, that was the whole reason for coming.
Yeah.
Have Myrna's cookies.
Right.
Well, for years it was in the Howard's house.
Yeah, it was. It was in Myrna's house first, and then we decided it'd be more convenient to go to the library. And I think at one time the library was good.
He's a little stalled.
Uh-oh. He's frozen.
That happened last week too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we get everybody? That's
here. I'll just do a plus right here. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
Sometimes it works. You can just slide it.
Yeah.
So it looks like Tom's frozen, but we wanted to sort of make a decision on if we're going to continue doing these meetings twice a month or once a month. Are you there, Tom?
It's frozen.
Yep.
Picture's frozen.
Still frozen. Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
He's going to try re-entering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the trouble with, I was using a Wi-Fi connection in the past, and now I'm plugging in because it makes it much stronger.
Oh.
You never know. There he is again.
We're on Wi-Fi here. Yeah.
Okay, am I back?
Yes, you are.
You're back.
I don't see him.
Okay, good. Good. Now I can see everybody. My screen froze. The only person that was moving was me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So
back to your question, Laura. Back to your question. I was thinking, if we want to continue, just a thought, it's just my thought. If we want to continue twice a month, like we have been, which is, I enjoy it. So I don't know what everybody else feels like, but maybe we should plan that one of the two times we actually have a topic to talk about, or maybe we should do it for both times, have a specific topic that we're going to talk about, and then we can kind of get an idea, to prepare for it. We can, bring in our whatever thoughts we have. you know, or we could have one of us would take that, say the first Thursday, and would make some form of a short presentation that everybody then we could discuss afterwards. And then the other session, we would just have it as a help session. Those are just some ideas that I thought about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was wondering how we could do more outreach, like reaching people who might want help, like Karen contacted me and then I told her to come here, but is there a way we could reach people through Facebook or some other way? I don't know. And say, if you need help or you want to talk about your research, come and join us.
Well,
Yep.
there's that Wisconsin Facebook genealogy group that I'm part of. They may, you know, some of those people may be interested in joining us on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
They're a real nice, helpful group. I've, you know, posted there a couple of times, and they helped out.
So maybe if I went to various Facebook groups and just invited people to join us.
And is that what you want? Because you were just kind of hesitant to let that other person in.
Well, that's
Right,
the
that's-
person.
He had a weird face.
Yeah, he had a weird face.
Okay.
Nobody knew him, so I just put him in the waiting room.
Did he come back?
No.
Oh, good.
Darn.
No, we were talking about, before COVID hit, we were talking about contacting all the historical societies about our group, you know, in Door County, so that they knew we existed. And we also talked about going to the book clubs and also, you know, mention it. Then COVID hit and everything kind of dropped.
But you're talking about that you guys have been helpful in the past to people stopping in at the library and helping them with their brick walls,
Yes.
I'm assuming, or how to get started with genealogy.
It was
you know,
always, it was always posted in the paper every week
uh-huh.
as well, that we would, you know, that the genealogy group would be at the Sister Bay Library on Tuesdays from, I think it was 1 to 5 or 1 to 4.
1 to 4, yeah.
Were you more or less helping people with Door County genealogy, or
Oh, no.
just genealogy
Oh,
overall?
Yeah,
I'll-
anybody stopped in.
Right.
that
I
needed
think if we wanted to get some more people involved, I think that, you know, that Wisconsin Facebook group, you know, just posting an invite out there, you know, just to, and maybe have it at a minimum, you know, where we're accepting the first 10 who sign up or something, you know, that we're here, you know, it's an outreach
Yeah.
group to
Hey,
help you
I'm willing, you know.
with genealogy.
Sounds good to me.
And that kind of almost makes it sound like, you know, okay, we don't have a lot of room, so geez, you know, this is, you know, I better be able to, you know, sign up right away and get some help, you know, because you can't have 30 people in at a time anyway. So if you would just limit it to maybe the first 10, and then you guys would be able to continue on with your helping, and perhaps have them have a list of 5 questions when they tune in, and the experts here, you guys, would be able to, you know, continue on helping these people.
What we started doing, this all began as, well, we did not begin that way, but our group taught a clearing class. Are you familiar with the clearing?
No, I don't. What is clearing?
The clearing classes are, it's a humanities folk type school that was started. It's up in Northern Door.
Oh,
And they offer classes throughout the year. And one of them was genealogy. And so our group helped to teach it.
oh, sure.
That, what we taught actually was the beginnings of how to use Ancestry, for example, and then we'd have a breakout at the end of the class in the library, working with people one-on-one.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how we could translate something like that, but just the idea of teaching people to use the various systems that are available to you on genealogy, you know, family search, roots web, all of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it might, you know, if we maybe would have an opportunity for them. Okay, I'm going to log in on Thursday at, you know, 2 o'clock, and perhaps have their 5 questions sent ahead of time so that you guys have a chance to research them and aren't sitting there going, huh, that is a good question. You know,
We would
something
never
like
do
that. If they made an appointment and they wanted to show up, I think, you know, then watching you guys help someone else solve a problem might help me. Maybe I'm not having that specific problem myself, but I could use it in this other conundrum that I have and perhaps use a similar approach.
Well, I don't know, Laura, how would that work?
I'm not sure. I mean, we want to be careful, you know, how we accept people in because of what we saw today. Someone coming we didn't recognize at all and looked suspicious. But also we might want to take questions in writing and help people with things that if they can't come necessarily. So I keep trying to think of how we could have some sort of online blog type of thing where people can talk back and forth too. It's hard to say. It just seems like it's a shame not to have some sort of gathering now that, you know, we can't have meetings in the library.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
here,
that there's a real desire out there, though, for some type of live, you know, type of help instead of, you know, typing back and forth. And Laura, I mean, your website is a statewide website. It's not just Door County or it's national, you know, so you have a lot of tools on that, you know, on the Door County library, you know, website right there.
yeah.
Which is,
And I
very
get questions a lot just directed to the library about different things, you know, obituaries and all sorts of things. So that's what I do. I do sort of what they do up north when they try to help people. I do it here. There was a Peninsula Genealogical Society here in Sturgeon Bay, but they disbanded not too long ago. People were getting a little older, didn't have time to come, I think, and so they decided to disband, which was too bad. But I just feel the need for something to go on. They did a lot of projects. Tom was mentioning maybe a group project we could work on. They did a big cemetery project where they were documenting the cemeteries. This is even before Find a Grave was well known. And they did an obituary project where they have books of all the old obituaries in the newspapers, which is very, very helpful. Unfortunately, it's not online, it's only in print, but it makes it really easy to find obituaries for people when I have that question. What else did they do? They were always working. They did a surname index project for the history room here. So they took the old family histories and they went through them and pulled out all the surnames they could find. So if someone comes in and has family, you know, it's one book is not always about one family. So it makes it really easy to help people that way.
But
So,
largely it was Door County or Wisconsin people, correct? That they were searching for.
well, it was local, but you know, everyone has family all over the country.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tom, you remember we had the Northern Door Project whereby we copied all the church records for the Catholic Church, for example. And we did the data entry as a group. We got together aside from the normal genealogy meeting once a month, and we would sit down and each of us had a computer and we'd take a segment of the copied records and input it into the database. Whatever happened to that, Tom?
Well, what we ended up doing with it was putting it, you know, combining it all together into a booklet.
Mhm.
And yeah, we gave the library a couple copies, and we sent donated one to the Historical Society over here, and we also donated one to Family Search. I've not seen it, or to the library out there, and I've not seen it on the library yet, and that was over a year ago. So I suspect, well, I don't know what I suspect. I suspect they didn't feel it was up to their quality.
Oh, okay.
Which is too bad, you know.
Huh.
It was the Catholic Church records, or what was the name of it?
No,
Yes,
it was.
Well,
No,
it was mostly the Catholic Church records that I worked on personally, but we also had
We were all the churches.
they were all the Northern Door churches
Mhm.
Right.
who let us participate by copying their internal records. We had to go in. I don't know who did it, whether Norma Howard did it or her group, but they photocopied the church books.
Mhm.
And then we took those copies and data entered it into a database. And then Tom worked on it as far as sorting it out and merging it and discovering.
Yeah, I put it all together. And then I put it all together, and then I gave the original copy, or the Xerox sheets, I gave to the Door County Library, which I assume will end up at the archive when the archive is built or put together. I still have the electronic files. I mean, we could spruce it up maybe and make it better as a project, and maybe we can get the churches, now that genealogy is a little bit more well known, because that was I started with this group 10 years ago, and the project was already ongoing. So,
yes,
maybe nowadays we can get the churches to cooperate that we couldn't get before. So we have more comprehensive, and we could probably expand it to all of Door County too.
Well, at this point in time with technology, there's a possibility that these churches have digitized all those records.
Yeah.
That would be much more convenient to merge into than what we had to do in the past.
Yeah, I know that the Catholic Church, at least when I've tried to research Catholic records, they always send me to the diocese office, and they say they have them there. And I haven't. One is in Madison, and the other one's in Green Bay, and I haven't made. Well, they're all in Madison. I haven't made it down there yet to look at it. So. The ones I want, but I would suspect ours would be in Green Bay, or Door County would be in Green Bay.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Well, I'm seeing that it is in the library catalog in the Laurie History Room collection.
Oh, good.
Northern Door County Historical Church Records, 2000.
I did something right. All right.
Yeah.
So that's there in Family Search?
It's in our catalog info suite.
I haven't seen it. Family
The
Search.
library catalog is called Info Soup, and it's cataloged in the library system.
Oh, okay. So it's in the Door County library system,
right?
But you don't know, you don't think Family Search has done anything with it?
Yeah, I don't know about that. We have our copy here, and then there's one in the reference department in Sister Bay.
Yeah.
So
well, I speaking of the Catholic Church, I was I talked with a nun the other day. I was looking for my 2 times great aunt was a nun, and she's buried in the cemetery behind the seminary in St. Francis, which is in Milwaukee County.
Right.
So I talked with this lady, and the cemetery, you can't even drive to it. You have to park your car. It's on a wooded trail. There aren't any signs telling you that this is the way to the cemetery. It's a huge woods, which like more than 10-15 acres of woods with a ton of different trails. And I just had to walk around until I found the cemetery. and then finally Anne found her grave.
Well, I went to one cemetery.
And I was lucky enough that I knew what her nun name was because that's how she's buried.
Right.
How old
Yes.
is this cemetery?
She died in 1904, and there are graves there from the 1860, 1870 was about the oldest one I saw.
I encountered something like that in Marquette, Michigan while searching for the gravesite of my great-grandfather who died in 1876 in Marquette, Michigan, and would have been buried in the Catholic cemetery, and learned that that cemetery had been abandoned by the Catholic Church. They just neglected to care for it, and it was totally overgrown.
Oh.
And we discover a sign that said this was sacred ground, so you should not be trampling around. But what they did was they established a new cemetery on the far end of the city, and they removed some of the graves. I don't know if they had to have a family member who was willing to dig up that individual. And in my grandfather's case, they did move him to the new cemetery, but there were a whole bunch of people who were taken by wagon trail to this new cemetery, and they don't know where those people are even buried. I have checked with the sexton at the new cemetery, and there are all kinds of old surviving tombstones, bits and pieces that are stacked up along a fence area.
It's just a
The
shame.
burials, yeah, the burials themselves, they said, well, according to the record that the sexton could find, my great-grandfather would have been buried about somewhere under that particular tree. You know, there's nothing.
Mhm.
I think this happens more than you realize. I think even here in Sturgeon Bay, they moved some of the people in the very first cemetery. That was
Yeah.
so, you know,
Yeah.
happens.
That does happen.
Yeah.
So I was able to also, do you guys think, so I found, okay, so this is my third great grandfather was a hit who ended up, you know, living in Door County, but on his way to Door County from New York, lived in Elgin County, Ontario County, Elgin County, Ontario, Canada. And we found just this past week a grave marker that a little boy was left there who passed away, died in 1854. Do you think that there would be any kind of records left in the cemetery office from 1854 that we would know how old this little boy was when he passed?
Where is the cemetery?
Ontario in Canada.
Yeah.
Canada kept remarkable records.
Did they?
Yes, they had. I learned that through my cousin's wife, who began researching ancestry way back before there was any kind of, well, there wasn't even ancestry.com at all or anything. She did it all by manual records.
Okay.
Some sort, I can't remember the book that she got from Canada.
Can't hear anybody, so.
You can't?
Tom can't hear us.
Okay, now I can.
Okay. Welcome back, Tom.
Yeah,
Again.
it's been going in and out. Been freezing, unfreezing, so I rebooted it and hopefully that'll work better.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Where is your Wi-Fi? What do you have?
I have Charter or Spectrum.
Yeah,
do
so
too.
do we.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here. You know, it's in town, so I don't know. The modem is right there. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem is. So
Well, maybe you didn't pay your bill on time.
maybe not. You know, hey.
I was going to ask Laura. I went just for the fun of it to access the library genealogy programs.
You're talking about last. Oh.
You broke again?
Yeah, it's all broken up again. I don't know what's going on.
I was going to
Oh,
ask,
well.
can we access the world records through the library on Ancestry or no?
It's not the full access. It's called the library edition and it's limited. I know that. So they may not
Okay.
have everything you need.
Yeah, but in the past, Laura, we had to be in the library, physically in the library, you know, use the World Edition. But with the COVID, that's not possible. So is it available to us remotely at this point or not?
I don't know. I know they're going to quit it soon. I think I checked the other day and I think it's still working, but you'd be able to, I have a link on our library page to the link that they gave us for the COVID situation. And I
Okay.
think it's still working, but I'm pretty sure they'll be stopping fairly soon.
Okay. Well, that's good news. I didn't know that stopping, yeah, but
And then it'll be available in the library.
So they're gonna-
That's not going to stop.
yeah, okay.
Well, I found some things on your site yesterday that were kind of interesting. Tom, I think, do you have the Eastern European family thing that I have going? Is it you trying to figure out where Czechoslovakia and Slovakia and Hungary all are at any time? Is that you too, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Tom?
don't have any Hungary, but I have. Yeah, I don't have any Hungary, but I do have Czechoslovakian.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I don't. Or Czech Republic.
The
Just
Czech
they're
Republic,
just near Prague. Yeah, they're just near Prague, kind of east of Prague. In
Yeah.
a little village east of Prague. But yeah, I haven't done a lot of work on them. I
Well,
did
I
find a
found-
little church.
Interesting things. I found a manifest coming in for, oh, this isn't it. Would it be Castle Garden? No, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been. No, I think it was, I'm not sure. Let's see.
Well, yeah, that's a manifest from the ship they
Yeah,
were on.
yeah. Well, the arrival
What-
was 1900, so that would have been,
Yeah, because Ellis Island started what 1892 or something like that.
Yeah.
that'd be Ellis
Yeah.
Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, it was either Castle Gardens or what was the other place? There was another place there too, but it wasn't as used as much as Castle Gardens.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of it, but I wanted to say if this holds is that Karen, with your nun, I had there was a nun that I went in 6th grade. She was my teacher in 6th grade, and I always thought she had a big influence on my life. Okay, and so I wanted to see where she was buried, you know, and so I went to Elm Grove near Milwaukee because that's
Right.
where the let's see, what would it be called house? I don't know what it's called, where the nuns go to retire. It's I don't know
Oh, okay.
what they call it, but anyway, so I went there and because I knew she was part of that order, and yes, they did have the record, and they said, you know, that you had to go out. It was in this, you know, plot out there somewhere in their cemetery. So I went out there and I found it. Okay, and there's 2 names on the stone. The stone's about so big. Okay, and there's 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you froze up. Doggone it. So
No.
okay. So
We
anyway,
can hear you.
Yeah.
okay, good. All right. So then I went out there and went to it, and I found it, and there's 2 names on it. So I'm thinking, why is there 2 names on this stone? You know, and so I'm thinking, well, maybe that was the second name was her name before she became a nun. Okay. You know, and thought, okay, fine. So I didn't think anything more of it. Well, then I went back into the home or to the facilities office, and I asked them about it, and they said, oh, no. There was someone buried there first, and then 25, 30 years later, they bury another person. You know, it's the European thing where you bury them, you know, after so many years, you bury somebody else there. And I thought, that's kind of sad in a way, you know, that
Yeah.
she did all this, you know, she did everything for me, and other people felt the same way. that were in my class. You know, she did all this, and here she is. She doesn't even have her own cemetery plot. You know,
Oh,
but that's
Did
That's
they just
her-
bury
that's
him
her-
on top of the
yeah, they
other
had two. They had two names on the stone. Now the stone was flat, and so she was on the top, and the other woman was on the bottom. You know,
yeah.
and but I did at the office. I was able to find her non-nun name. Okay, and so I did a little genealogy on her. Okay. And it turns out that she lived in a very small town. She grew up in a very small community, just kind of west of Dubuque, Iowa. And she had two brothers, okay? And her father was a shoemaker or cobbler. And so she became a nun. The two brothers became priests. And one was a missionary out to the Indians in South Dakota and spent his whole time out there. And the other one was just a regular, you know, a parish priest, you know. So I thought that was kind of interesting, you know.
That is, yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is interesting.
But I was kind of sad though when I saw that she didn't even have her own cemetery plot,
Yeah.
you know. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Enough of
Yeah,
that.
I've got a little interesting story. I Facebook with Barbara's cousin, Mark Kennelly, who is a funeral director in Marquette, Michigan. And so yesterday, I got a post from Mark that he's on Mackinac Island staying at the Grand Hotel
Oh,
and
wow.
Okay.
playing golf. So I said,
golf.
yeah, he's playing golf there at, I think it's the golf course owned by the Grand Hotel.
Yeah, yeah.
He's staying at the Grand. And so I text back to him. I said, Mark, I said, you probably don't know, but you have ancestors that helped build the Grand back in the late 1800s,
Very neat.
which is Barbara's grandmother was a Daniels, and the Daniels family, they were they were expert carpenters who lived in St. Nicholas, Michigan.
Well,
Oh,
they moved there from New York.
They moved there from New York. And so I said, your great-grandmother, the link is through your great-grandmother, Rose LaHillier Daniels. And I said, you know, they helped build the Grand Hotel. He wrote back and said, wow, I didn't know that.
But Rose's name was,
Yeah.
I was assumed we were English with a name like Daniels. And after doing ancestry, what I learned is that the name was Gelanu, and they changed it to Daniels when they lived in New York. When they immigrated from Canada to New York in the 1800s.
So they were French.
They were from France. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't. I just assumed that that side of the family was a combination of French because she married Joseph Louillier, the way they pronounced it, LaHillier. But her maiden name was Daniels. But yes,
Yeah.
they changed it to Daniels. I guess nobody could pronounce Gelanu.
Didn't know how to spell it either.
Yeah.
So did we resolve the first question that Laura brought up about how we want to structure ourselves? Did we resolve that?
Not exactly.
We wandered, huh? Typical genealogist. You said
Yeah.
down one path and you end up down 5 other ones.
Yeah.
So what
True.
are we going to do? What do we want to do?
Well, first of all, do we want to meet once a month or twice a month?
I think once for me.
Once.
Yeah. That's sufficient, I think.
I don't know what anybody else thinks. It should be probably not more of us present to vote on it, but
Well, we can do what we want, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like the idea of meeting once a month and then having but then another time having a session open for help for anybody to
Yeah,
you know,
I would agree with that.
contact. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think we should do, you know, we wouldn't have a Zoom session every week for help.
Yeah.
I can't see that, but I think we could do, you know, and especially if we know kind of ahead of time, like Laura says, or maybe it was Karen that said that, somebody said that, you know, we know ahead of time what the question is, and so that we can do a little research on it if we don't happen to know anything,
Mhm.
you know.
how
Well,
large?
I mean, Laura, what you could do is, put something out there on that Facebook group and just, well, I guess I would probably check with the admin first to make sure that it's okay to do an invite. But then, just create a Gmail account, and, questions, for the, what are we calling ourselves? The Door County genealogists,
So we
whatever.
haven't come up with a name yet.
No, I don't believe it.
And tell them that it's not specific to Door County, but that you're just located in Door County, but you all have a passion to help, and you haven't been able to reach out to anybody to help because of COVID. I think, and especially if you've got 1 month lead time, tell them, you've got the first 10 people who sign up, ask, 3 questions or 5, whatever number that you want, and then have it at least a week before you want to have that meeting, and then have people attend.
Are you saying, Karen, are you saying that just the first 10 people who would sign in would be the group?
Because otherwise I think it's too many, you wouldn't be able to manage more than that. I don't know.
But would you stay with those initial 10?
No.
Okay.
Each month, the first 10 people who sign up to ask questions.
Okay, got it.
That's what I think is kind of a fun idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Or
Yeah.
we could start our own Facebook group.
So Karen, do I hear you volunteering to write something up?
Sure, I can write something up. And I could check with that group. I've posted there before, so they know that at least I'm, not some type of weirdo just coming in. And then ask them if, ask the admin if that would be okay to post something about that. When would you want to do it? You want to keep it on Thursdays at 2, but what, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or not Tuesday, Thursday? Which one appeals to you guys? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th Thursday of the month?
The first is always, that first week of the month is always kind of busy for me. So I would prefer to do it a later time in the month.
Okay. So then what is this considered because what we're doing is we're doing it every other.
Yeah. So I would almost say the 3rd, like if we do September, it would be the 3rd Thursday of the month would be like the 17th.
Okay.
So that would be in a couple times.
That would be our help session.
Okay.
I'm asking a question. That would be our help session then?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
So then we've got a month lead time, and then I'll just say that we would have to have all questions in within at least 1 week prior. And then, Laura, you want to create the email address then? Because I would think it would need to go to the library, and then you would farm them out.
Well, I almost keep it, as you say, Gmail instead of the library itself.
Okay.
I'm so swamped with email now. I can't.
Okay, so we could create our own Gmail account, and I could just call it whatever, the Door County genealogists. And then what do you think? 3 questions for 10 people? That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot. Well, we could try it. If it gets to be too much, we'll just change it.
Okay.
Right?
We'll start out with 3 questions for 10 people, or do we want to even have it?
Generally, I tell you this, generally my experience has been with the help sessions, and they come to the library and they want to know, who or where their great grandfather's uncle was or something, and so it's more than just a question. It's more, you got to do the research to find out where it is. and to find out what they really want, you know?
Right.
So I'm not so sure 3 questions, that's 30 questions in an hour.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So,
maybe let's start with just one research question or something
Okay.
like that. You know, and then if we find we have more time, we can go more than 10, you know, or something. It's going to vary, I think.
okay. All right. So are we comfortable with 10 people?
I think.
Well,
I think it'll work.
Okay.
That's only 10 questions, and you know, with the lead time, we'll be able to do a little research ahead of time. All of us can do research ahead of time to answer the questions. If you could post it, you know, to us a week ahead, or at least 2 or 3 days, 3 or 4 days ahead, then I would think we'd have time to do research. Ron, you haven't said anything. What do you think?
I'm just listening, and I think it's a good idea, but yeah, the one question is good enough, because once you started with one question, Tom, as you stated, you know, one question could take you 4 hours.
Oh yeah, one
So-
question could take you a long
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it just varies on what it is, you know.
Yeah, so start with the one question, and then go from there. So
Yeah,
Karen, where are you going to post this?
It's a Facebook group called, I think it's like Wisconsin Genealogy, something like that. But it's Wisconsinites or people who are doing research in Wisconsin. They're a pretty seasoned group, but they do talk about, you know, I'm having a hard time, you know, figuring out an approach to da-da-da. And then people will chime in and say, have you tried this? Or how about this?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So it's just, you know, it's thinking outside of the box by somebody else other than yourself when, you know, you thought that you went down just about every avenue, and then when somebody else takes a look at the problem, then they see, you know, a different road to travel, which is nice.
But these
Sure.
people focus strictly in Wisconsin, are they?
Well, they're Wisconsin genealogists, or they're researching their ancestors who used to live in Wisconsin.
Right.
Okay,
So-
so they're interested in looking beyond Wisconsin.
No, they're definitely looking beyond that. Yeah. But I think it's just a smaller group to reach out to at first, rather than, you know, a national group. Because that might be, you know, a little overwhelming at first.
Yeah, we always, as far as our help session, we tried to take the approach of helping or giving the person who comes in help and assistance to where they would in the future be able to do their own research.
Right.
Rather than us doing the research for them. You
Yeah,
know, we
definitely.
want them to be able to do the research. So it was also a training session. At least we
Right.
tried to do that, you know. It didn't always work, but we tried.
Mhm.
So you all are well seasoned with Ancestry besides family search, or what are your areas of expertise?
I'm comfortable with family search and ancestry.
Okay.
You know, I don't use Legacy or Jenny or whatever it's called, and I also don't, because I don't have any ancestors from England, so I don't do what's the one? In my heritage, I haven't really done them.
Well,
I figure
there's
I-
Family Tree Maker as well.
Yeah.
That's not, well, not so much.
There's Find My Past is one I was trying to think of. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't do
yeah.
Find My Past, and I don't do My Heritage because I figure I spend enough money on Ancestry. I don't need to do that too.
Yeah, you're not a kid.
So I don't need to do My Heritage too, although they're getting better. So I think for me personally, the topic that I would find most difficult to cover, but I think Laura can, is the DNA. I'm not real versed on DNA at all.
We're not at all.
Yeah, I'm not either. It's still Greek, as they say.
Well, and I've done a little bit with DNA, so I could help out with that.
Well, good, good.
I've been working on color coding my
Oh, my.
different family members this week. That's what I've been working on.
Is that Family Tree Maker you're doing that on?
That would be
On
it.
Ancestry.
Yeah, yeah.
They have a way you can put, make family groups and put colors.
Yeah,
I
we,
thought you had
Okay,
that through Family Tree Maker, don't you? No?
I guess not. Maybe Ancestry.
Ancestry has that
Direct.
direct?
Yeah.
Yes, but you have to have your DNA in there.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, okay, that's,
No,
yeah, we have no interest in doing that.
no. Family
So,
Tree has color too.
so since we mentioned Ancestry DNA, what is the big boo-ha-ha about these small centrum organs? That they're going to get rid of those?
They're getting rid of them because they're finding out that those smaller segments are that there's a likelihood that there's an error in recognizing that you share a match with this person. So by
Okay.
removing those smaller matches, you're eliminating the likelihood that there is an error, is how I read it, Laura. Is that what
That's
you?
basically it, because the fewer you have, the less chance you have of actually matching someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you look at what the experts think about it, they're all right with it. They think that that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, well, you ought to go to Ancestry DNA Facebook and listen to them.
Well, I
Yeah,
personally
but-
haven't, I think I told this story already. I have an example where that wouldn't be to my benefit, because I have, I matched two ladies who all three of us have family trees that trace us back to the 1600s in New York. And we
Oh.
all three had a tiny match. So I'm thinking, since we all matched to siblings back in the late 1600s,
That's
the DNA,
wonderful.
even though it's tiny, probably is accurate. It was the
Mhm.
same family. So that was very unusual, and I quickly took a screenshot. Luckily, one of the ladies has since passed away.
Oh,
I have that saved. So I would recommend, if you find something really cool like that, make sure you make a copy.
Right.
It doesn't stay there forever.
well, they said too that if you do color code them, that they will stay.
Oh, Willie?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Oh,
the
interesting.
lady's family may have taken hers down. I don't know, but she did.
Oh, well then, yeah, then you would need a screenshot if they took it down. I wonder why they would do that.
I don't know, but they just keep shuffling. They keep redoing things. So then you may see something one time and then it's a different format later. So got lost, but I still have the information. in my
Oh,
folder.
nice.
Well,
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay,
mean,
so
there's no-
then Laura, do you have everybody's email address? So once I start receiving
So
the
basically,
questions.
Tom has that information, right?
Yeah, I have everybody's address.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so then Tom, do you want to send
Except
me
for
those
yours.
then?
Karen, I don't have yours.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it to you right now. You ready?
Well, this is being
Hold on.
recorded, so maybe you should send it to him or send it to Door County Library to me.
Oh, okay, all right, I can do that.
Okay.
Because
All
you
right,
That
contact
makes sense,
me,
Laura. Yep,
or I can, contact me again, because I have so much email.
okay, I'll do that.
Overwhelming.
Okay, so we're going to go to 2 meetings. The first meeting of the month, like we've been, it will be a topic of some kind. Is that right? And then also discussion group. And then the second meeting would be for any help sessions. Is that what we've all agreed to?
Are they both going to be Thursday?
Let's try it out and see how it goes, like we're trying this.
Does Thursday work for everybody?
Works for me.
Yep.
Well,
goodbye.
the 17th won't work for me, but that's okay. Dave will be here.
Yeah, I'm actually off on the next Thursday meeting time, but I can log in from home
Okay.
because it's
So
Labor Day
it's
weekend.
So September, we're going to meet on the 3rd and the 17th. Is that right? Is that what you're looking
Yeah.
at? Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Now, the topics, who's going to determine the topics and put that out there?
Well,
Looking for volunteers, Barbara?
I've got an idea for our first topic.
All right.
How about we talk about our new discoveries since we last spoke and how we came about finding them?
Sounds good.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
I'll put out a note about
Kind
the,
of what we did at our meetings all the time. We
Yeah,
went
I'll
around.
put-
been kind of doing that.
I can, okay. I will put out the email, since I have the addresses, I will put out the emails on the topic for that month. Okay? I
Okay.
can do that. So, so if you have an idea for one, like Karen did there, let me know, and then I will put it out. Is that all right with you, Laura?
Yeah, you do a great job with that, so,
Okay, good,
yeah.
good.
Okay.
I'll take care of that.
Nice.
I'll quickly mention, in the past, I've had quite, people who are researching family that were not rich. Like one lady had relatives who came to Chicago and they were fairly poor. There's a brand new book I just ordered. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh,
Coming out in September.
France.
oh,
Tracing Your Poor Ancestors. How about
Oh.
that? I think that should be kind of interesting because, I mean, not all of
Yeah.
us have ancestors who were rich and owned estates. So this would be tracing people in cities, where they were.
Or maybe in the poorhouse or
Yeah,
you know,
something like that.
where else? Yeah.
So I thought I'd just mention that. That comes out in September, so it'll be in the library in a month or so later.
Oh, good.
And we're going up on an hour now, so we might want to end it so we don't overdo. I'll mention one fun genealogy story that
Okay.
I came
Okay.
across. I arranged a program for September with a man named Tony Walters. I don't know, Walter, did anyone notice that it's on our calendar? He has written a book. He was a sports writer for the Green Bay Press Gazette, and he's written a book called My Dad, the Packers, and Me. And so I contacted him, and he's going to do a program on Zoom. You might want to come. People are hungry.
When is that going to be?
It's on a Friday, I think like the 14th, 11th, something like that.
Well, the 11th is a Friday in September.
Then that's when it is. It's on our calendar already, so you can have a look.
Oh, okay.
But it turns out he was a sports writer for the Press Gazette, and before that, his dad started working there in the 20s. He was writing the 30s through 50s and 60s, and he kept a diary every single day.
Oh,
So
wow.
he has tons of references to, of course, the Packers, right? So this book is Tony writing some of that Packer history based on these diaries, sort of. But the fun thing is my grandfather worked at the Press Gazette also. And so my grandfather knew the Walters, and I was able to find a picture of my mother in 7th grade when she had her birthday party, and his mother was there in the group, big group, and some of his other relatives. I sent that to him, and then he said, well, what day were your parents married? And it was 1951. So he then looked in his dad's diary and sent me the entry where his dad and mom were going to my parents' wedding. And it was so well written.
Oh, wow.
He's a journalist, so he wrote this really fun thing about how all the girls in the office, the Press Gazette, were looking down at the wedding party and all sort of dreamy about getting married and all this sort of thing. Well, my mom worked at the Press Gazette too as a photographer for a while, so I'm sure they all knew each other. So
Oh,
that
that's
was
fabulous.
really fun. And I'm looking forward to that talk with him, although we'll talk about the Packers.
There you go.
But that
Let's
was,
see. Well, I see the 11th of September. Is that going to be, have they already played a game by then? I don't know.
I think they
Have
are
to look.
playing that Sunday,
That's Sunday. Oh, okay.
Bears or someone. Yeah. So
Okay.
that should be fun for anyone who's hungry
Yeah.
to hear about the Packers. And
Right down
look at
the
his book. We have it at the library now, and I actually purchased a copy for fun. He has a lot of the older players like Johnny Blood and what was the name? Mike
Library.
Chesky or something. Does anyone remember him from the?
Oh, well, I don't remember him, but I think I've heard the name.
His daughter, Leanne, used to work here as a volunteer in the library, but she moved to Iowa, so lots of good history there.
What is Laura?
Chapters.
Neat.
Is,
Laura,
Laura?
what is your title?
What is your
What?
title?
The title of the book?
No, your
your-
title.
What is your position at the
Oh, I'm
library?
the adult services librarian, so I do reference and all sorts of different things.
Okay,
Yeah, purchase books, that sort of thing. But then there, another interesting Packer story. See, we get carried. I grew up in Green Bay, deep here actually. There was an article in the paper that Mike Murphy has a house in Deep here that's on the market. For
yes.
it's right on the river, Fox River, in Deep here on Broadway. So I have a group of girlfriends who are genealogy fanatics, like I am. My sister and some other friends. And so everyone's trying to figure out who built that house in the 1850s and who lived there and all sorts of details about that house.
Wow.
So you can look it up. It's probably in the paper right now that he is selling the house, but
Yeah, well, you better hurry because he sold it.
did he sell it already?
Yeah, it was in the paper, I think yesterday or the day before. He sold it for 1.05 million.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's the house. And of course, we were growing up in Deep here. One of the friends said, "Oh, I dated someone who lived there in 1969," and all this.
Oh.
But you know, it's so much fun to get carried away with every little thing that sort of brings up family history or local history. And I think it's a house that my sister-in-law's family lived in around the turn of the century.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere
Okay.
you go, there's history.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Is
that's,
there anything we should know about with the new system there, Laura?
the only thing to know is that it's a huge change for us because it's completely new. Everything we do is new. And for people logging in, when they migrated the data from the old system to the new, they could not bring over people's PIN numbers. So if you had a PIN number, it's no longer what it used to be. They decided to go with a default PIN number, which is 6 numbers from your birth date, 2 from the day, the month, the day, and then the year. So if you have trouble logging into anything, like if you do try to use Ancestry from home and you have to log into your account, it'll be that PIN number, not the old one that you think you might have had. So that's important to
Okay.
know.
I wasn't listening.
do we get to change it to a personal PIN number
You
after
can
we get it?
definitely log into your InfoSoup account with that default PIN number, and then you can change it there.
Okay,
So, but they had to go with something, and they were guessing, you know, library card numbers or this or that. But the one thing that would be, you know, not changing is the PIN number. Is the birth date.
I guess it's already in place.
It's already in place now, this new
Yeah,
system?
the migration was last Saturday and the weekend,
Oh.
and then Monday morning we started up with the new system.
Oh, okay.
So this is replacing InfoSoup, correct?
InfoSoup is the public view of it, yes. It's still on InfoSoup, but the structure is completely different.
Like you had OneDrive and Libby. OneDrive and Libby were the same,
Mhm.
and also Hoopla.
Yeah. If you have trouble with those, try the new PIN number. If you don't, in some
Okay.
cases, they said it wouldn't cause trouble, but there's so many glitches. I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
We're
yeah.
finding that with learning and retirement.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Registering. Has anybody registered for learning and retirement onto the new program?
no.
No.
Yeah, I know Larry Desitel did a program for us.
Yes.
And he's doing a bunch of things. I know that. I
Yeah.
hope he'll
Yeah.
be okay with.
Well,
Oh, he'll be fine.
oh, he'll be fine. Everything went well. We actually tuned in with you on that,
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
and really enjoyed his presentation.
He's quite amazing,
Yeah.
He really does research, that's for sure.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is another story. I mean, I have this picture, a screenshot of this film made in Green Bay in 1913. And there's all these about 5 or 6 ladies standing there with a sign saying "Vote for Women." I'd love to identify those ladies.
Yeah.
I know, I'm pretty sure I figured out one of them.
Oh, good.
When was that?
1913.
1913.
This company came to Green Bay and filmed all over the city. And I have a screenshot of this one, a bunch of ladies in front of the women's building in Green Bay. Of course, the film has a lot more in it. A lot of people in different locations, but I thought that was pretty remarkable, that lineup of those women saying votes for women, 1913.
Have you read The Women's Hour?
Yes,
Book?
we did a discussion here in the library with
Okay.
the women voters, and we
I
had
love
an author join us.
Yeah,
So,
that was
yeah,
amazing.
really, really interesting book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I think we're just an hour now, so maybe we'll break
Yeah.
up and meet again in
Okay.
a couple weeks.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.